Now we're back on Smells Like 90's Rock. Alice in Chains. What the hell have I?
By request.
By request. A good song. So what else is going on in the world? Well, I guess we should talk a little bit more about Sinead O'Connor. Rest in peace. We were talking a little bit about this off the air. Is that she's probably most famous for, and I'm air quoting, ruining, air quote, her career in 1992 for tearing up a picture of the Pope on Saturday Night Live and declaring "Fight the real enemy," to bring awareness to all the horrible child molestation that was happening in the Catholic Church. At the time, of course, we didn't know much about that. We hadn't really heard anything about that, so we just looked at her as crazy lady, who was saying crazy lady things, and like P.O.R.C was saying at the time, everybody loved Pope John Paul. He was great, and so ended up ruining her career. And then it was just about a decade later that Pope John Paul came out and said, "Oh yeah, all that happened, and I'm sorry." And
I think it was him too that was the head of the Catholic Church when they had to issue the apology for Rwanda.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So. She was informed and we were not, and she took a stand and she paid for it.
She did, If we knew then what we knew now, that
probably would have treated her a little better,
so much more as a hero. And
I would hope,
yeah, absolutely. And so she's been looked on much more favorably over the last 20 years or so. Of course, her career hasn't really.
She never really recovered.
No,
after that.
But she said in an interview once, like, "No, my career was fine. It's the career that you wanted for me was the one that got ruined. I'm happy. She's like, I enjoy doing what I do, and I enjoy my life, and it's fine. It's just the idea that you had for me, meaning the public, yeah, that was tarnished. But it's whatever." And so she lived in relative happiness, but we don't know exactly what happened to her yet. I'm sure we'll know in the near future.
She kind of struggled with mental illness the last few years.
She did struggle, and she lost a child, and it's a lot. But so it's extremely sad what happened to her from beginning to end. She knew. She tried. She is the perfect example of they tried to warn us. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
She tried to warn us. She did. And we as a society just didn't listen. We had our happy blinders on, and so we didn't listen back then. And in so doing, she ended up getting banned from SNL for doing that. And yeah, but again,
I feel like they should have invited her back when she was proven right.
Proven right. Well, yeah, but again, see, the thing about Saturday Night Live is they like to only put people on that they believe will bring in an audience.
Okay.
So if you look at where Sinead O'Connor was at the time that it was finally revealed that the Catholic Church was in fact in the midst of a huge scandal, she wasn't very popular at that point. So
yeah,
unfortunately,
it was probably. What, mid-2000s?
This is mid-2000s, and so yeah, it's just a thing. And again, even then, our perception of how things are now didn't really change until the last few years. We didn't really turn over into that new. Even when the Catholic Church revealed what had happened, we still were just like, the Catholic Church is still good, We just there's some bad apples out there. It's sort of like how we looked at law enforcement for a long time until the last few years. It's like, oh, there's some bad apples out there, but there's still a lot of good police. It's kind of like that. But now we look at the Catholic Church and we look at a lot of law enforcement in general as they're not great
with more of an eye for reform.
That's right. Yeah, this is not. They don't really know how to handle what it is that they're doing. And again, and even in saying that, there are still, I'm sure, fine cops out there and fine priests out there who follow their laws respectfully. But yeah, there's just way too many trigger happy in the law enforcement realm, and there's too many disturbed people in the priest realm, and so that's where we run into this problem. And but I was just saying, like, if Sinead O'Connor had done something like that today, as opposed to today, maybe not necessarily not tearing up a photo of Pope Francis,
Pope Francis,
but doing something like that,
showing a sign of protest.
Showing a sign of protest and standing in solidarity with victims. I mean, she'd be extremely praised. It would be amazing. But it was a different time back then. We didn't understand. We didn't know. And so because of that, we allowed our viewpoints get in the way of what actually was the truth.